all over. Okay, so we're going to address this in just a second. But first, I want to let you know that the website is hereforyoulifecoaching.com. Okay, now this is no sales pitch or anything, but a lot of people are like, okay, wait a minute, what do you do? What whatever. So the website is basically a business card. Check it out. So you can see the research also because we post solid science research. Okay, this is not woo woo. This is not speculative uh, conversation. Okay, these are all scientific findings that we have on our website. We post the white papers. White papers are medical research, white papers are scientific research, and we post all of that on our website. Now, on with good morning, Jake. On with everything. Okay. All right. So you're just in time. We can let more people join the live here. Yeah. Share the live, you guys. Make sure you share the live. Good morning. Okay, so you cannot serve God and mammon. What is that about? Is this a religious discussion? Well, not really, okay? But they do mention this in the Bible, okay? And they mention it in other holy books as well, but they say it in a different way. Okay, so serving God and serving mammon. Let's break this down. What are we talking about? We're talking about this energy in here. You're not your body, you're not your name. You're that energy, that spirit that lives in here. Now, that belongs to God. Your physical body, these things, your physicalness, your physicality is your interface into the physical world. That is the matrix. Oh, matrix. What matrix are we talking about? Well, a matrix is anything that evolves. Okay, so we have the physical matrix. Okay, it's not matrix as in the movie The Matrix. Okay, that's red pill, blue pill, that's Hollywood. Okay, this is not about Hollywood. This is about the physical world that you become attached to in here. Okay, because you are an energy, you are a spirit, you are a soul. So at the point where you start to identify with different things, when you start to identify with the position, when you identify with the job, when you identify with the degree, when you identify with the education, when you start to identify with whatever it is, the car, the house, okay, you become attached to that identification. You attach. So when you choose, you join. When you engage, you join. Okay, so human beings have this ability to join with things. Have you ever seen the guy that names his car? My car had names. I had names for like a few of my cars. Okay. But I thought it was cool because, well, my uncle, when I was a kid, one of my uncles had a 55 Chevy, and he was actually a vice officer, and he used that he bought this beater, and he used it to infiltrate the camps where I come from that these hippies were camping at. And so he used to drive in there, and and they used to arrest people because that was part of the props that he used for his job. Anyway, but he named the car Betsy. And the joke in the family was that Betsy brought a lot of people to justice. So anyway, but so people name their cars. People name inanimate objects. People love and worship inanimate objects. And this is what the Bible talks about when they talk about idols. Okay, it goes deeper than just biblical speak. Okay, it's not Sunday school knowledge. Esoterically, it refers to inanimate objects. Why is this not good for you? Well, because then you isolate yourself away from the kingdom. The kingdom is in here. So what you're saying is, instead of acknowledging your source, instead of acknowledging your creator, whoever you believe that to be, I'm not here to tell you what to believe, but you sever this connection. And then you go, okay, I'm going to put it over here in this physical world That could be the temple, it could be the church, it could be, right? Anything, anything physical. So you cannot serve God and mammon. The reason why you cannot serve God and mammon, because you will take sides. You cannot do a 50-50, okay? You will choose sides. So now, can you worship things and worship money, which is what mammon implies, materialism? Can you worship money and then worship God at the same time? No, you can't do that. Can you have nice things and worship God? Oh, of course. That's why it says, seek the kingdom first, and all else will be added unto you. For years and years, I didn't understand this. When I was younger, going to Bible study, I didn't understand this because I was looking at it like it was being presented to me, like Sunday school knowledge. Okay? It's not Sunday school knowledge. This is physics. This is quantum physics. This is everything involving the 3D world that you live in. Okay? Because you have the power, because you are a human being, because you are the highest life form on the planet, you can identify with anything. And I'm not talking gender, I'm talking identify with anything. Okay, so when you place your focus on something, it intensifies. This is what you will manifest in your life. When you find the balance between physical and spiritual, but only when you place priority on the spiritual first. Okay, I have to say that. Physical, okay, is secondary. Spiritual is first. Because you're that energy that lives in here. And in that effort of seeking the kingdom, you will begin to understand. Because it will begin to explain itself to you. Genius is allowing patience to allow things to shift, to allow your paradigm to shift. Paradigm to shift, what is that all about? Everything has two sides, positive and negative. Okay? Now, if something seems to be negative, you need to have the patience to allow it to turn, to allow it to take another form, to allow it to expose the good side, and then choose that. Patience. So what is patience in this context? In this context, patience is to become the observer. Patience is to exercise your awareness. You are awareness in here. Okay, this is what we all have in common as humans. Awareness. There are so many humans that go through their whole life unaware. They're aware of their neighbors. They're aware that they have a dog. They're aware that they own a house. They're aware that they have a job. They're aware of those things. But on a deeper level, they cannot see the connections. They can't experience the synchronicities. Why? Because there are systems of things in the world. And these systems of things are influences. And these influences construct your mental paradigm, your understanding, what you stand under. Okay, so there's many different systems. So when we look at the systems, right? Okay, so let's look at the world system. Okay, so mammon is the physical world system because it's material instead of spiritual. It's the opposition. Okay, it's the hasatan to the spirit, or the Satan, or the opposing energy, or the opposer. Why is that? Because it's physical. What exactly is Satan? Esoterically, It goes back to Saturn, Chronos, Father Time. It governs the physical. What governs the spiritual? Source, okay? Source governs spiritual. Universe. If you say yours, source, you say universe. You say Jesus Christ. You say Allah. You say. That is this. The opposition, the Hasatan, is Father Time, Chronos, Saturn, Satan. The opposition, okay, the yang to the yin. What does that mean? That means this is temporary. The body is temporary. But your spirit is eternal. It's eternal. There is no end. Now, when you become aware of this, when you go, oh, okay, I know how to work this. I know how to see this. Oh, I know how this is done. Things come easily, plentifully, and quickly. Things begin to flow. So what's required when it's not happening? Patience. Patience is the observer. Patience is your awareness. Patience is allowing the paradigm to shift in your favor. How do you do this? You observe. Okay? Non-efforting. Esther Hicks calls it non-efforting. Why is that important to know? Well, because you just be patient and observe and look at both sides. So you need to question. Remember yesterday we were saying question everything? You need to question everything. Your first question should be, what's the good part to this? What's the good side to this? And ask. If you ask, believing in what you're asking, you will receive. Ask, believe, receive. Mark 24 in your Bibles for you Christians. It's also in all holy books, the Bhagavad Gita, the Torah, the Talmud, the Quran. It's when you pull yourself out of the box to look back into the box, you can see the synchronicities. If you cannot pull yourself out of the box, then you're stuck into a system. We have many systems, okay? Many systems. So this world system that we're talking about, okay, is a system that runs on scarcity, competition, fear, okay, domination, manipulation, material success as identity. How many people do you know that respect people with a lot of money? Why? Well, because they're successful, right? Because they have the answers, right? Wrong. Wrong. Just because somebody has more money than you does not make them any better than you are. Maybe they've made better financial decisions than you. Maybe they've discovered something that works for them. But that doesn't mean they're better than you. So how do you adjust for you? How do you make this work for you? Affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. And why is this important? So you can separate yourself from thinking that this is just all one. This is one unit, right? Wrong. It's two. It's spiritual and physical. So which one do you identify with? Well, when you look in the mirror every day, you begin to identify with the physical. Why? Because it's what you see. But you're in here observing this one. Okay? So now that you see this every day, you think that this is what you are. What you are is in here. Okay? This is what you have. It's what you've been given. It's what takes you around. It's what feeds you. It's what allows you to navigate in the physical world. It's your interface to the physical world. Okay? So in the Bible, and I'm just I'm not pushing Christianity or Bible, okay? It's just what I'm familiar with. But in the Bible, right, Jesus says, I will be with you till the end of the world. So this is spirit talking. This is spirit expressing itself. I will be with you until the end of the world. When you translate it out into the original text, it says, I will be with you until the end of these systems of things. Systems. What kind of systems do we have? Well, there's the military-industrial complex. Okay. There's the scientific-industrial complex. There's the financial-industrial complex. There's the media-industrial complex. These systems create a reality. These systems begin to form reality in the kingdom, in your kingdom. So, oh, I feel sick. Oh, I need to go to the doctor. Oh, I feel, and sometimes you do, right? Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. I'm just saying. But the beliefs you have in your subconscious are formed by your experiences in life. Can you change these beliefs? Oh, of course. Easy. Very easy. A belief is a thought you keep thinking. What are you thinking about? How are you thinking about it? Okay, none of these systems are inherently evil. None of them. They're not evil systems. Oh, the system is evil. Religion teaches you that. Oh, this is evil system. Money is evil. No, money is not evil. Depends on how you use it. It's like this pen, okay? I could use this pen to write, or I could use it as a weapon. How are you going to use things? That determines good or bad, okay? Evil, good, either way. How are you going to use it? How are you going to use your knowledge? How are you going to apply your knowledge? Knowledge is not power. Knowledge is nothing. The application of knowledge is power. Knowledge only becomes power when you use it. When you choose to use it. Okay, choice. When you choose, you identify. Okay? So in all of these industrial complexes, you need to make good choices. Because the system is set up before you. The systems are here for you to choose. Choose within the systems. So when Jesus spoke of these systems of things, he was talking about the political system. He was talking about the religious system. He was talking about marketing systems. He was talking about all of these things. So you're either going to serve systems or you're going to serve in here. Because this belongs to God, because this is connected to God. And whether you call it God, source, universe, Allah, Jesus Christ, whatever you want to call it. But that's the connection that will bring you everything you desire. Everything. What's the catch? There is a catch, as a matter of fact. It's your subconscious. What do you believe? Okay? If I teach you religion in such a way that I can teach you out of guilt, shame, and fear, if I can shame you into it, if I can guilt you into it, if I can make you afraid so that you revere it in such a way, it will never work for you. It will never do anything for you. Why? Because you are doubting and fearing. Because when you are shamed into something, when you are guilted into something, when you are feared into something, you have to doubt it. You cannot not doubt it. Think about it. When you fear something, you cannot love something. Love cannot exist where fear is, and God is love. God does not judge. We do, by our decisions and by our beliefs. So you can pray all day for something. But if there is a counter belief in your subconscious that tells you, well, I don't know if I'm going to get this, but I'm going to pray anyway. Right? I don't know if I can do this, but I'm going to pray for it anyway. Then you have counter manifestation. You have this going on. Okay? You have this going on. Okay? You have this going on. Okay? So on one side, you're pushing this way. Okay, prayer. This way, subconscious. No, not good enough. No, limiting beliefs. Okay? The key word is belief. What do you believe? Okay? Some people say, well, I believe in God. I know so many people that I've worked with over the years. I've been doing this for 37 years. I've been teaching confidence. And in 37 years, I've dealt with so many church people, right? People who profess, they give their lives to God. They say all of this, but they have no self-confidence. That is a direct reflection on their subconscious. And when we talked about universal laws yesterday, what we were talking about, the universal law of correspondence, whatever's in here exposes itself right out here in your immediate vicinity. So you can see the contradictions. You can see the idiosyncrasies. You can see the actions. Do you know what to look for? Do you know how to spot body language? Do you know how to observe? Do you know how to become the observer? Everything exposes itself. Human beings can't hide. They can't hide who they are. The thing is, most people are not trained observers. The majority of people don't know what to look for. And when they see it, they don't see it for what it is. They see it for what they want it to be. So when you're watching someone deliver a sermon and then you see their action somewhere, and then you go, hey, wait a minute, isn't that a contradiction? Okay. Human beings are natural hypocrites, okay? We're hypocrites. Why? Well, because we go like this, okay? Good action, bad action, good decision, bad decision. Do I make bad decisions? Yeah, every day. Every day. Do I have to correct my bad decisions? Yep, every day. Where do I correct them? In the physical world? Not always. In here. Why? Because everything in here controls everything out here. Everything out here reacts to everything in here. So how do you change someone's reaction towards you? All you do is change the way you think about them in here. That's it. Give them love from in here. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to say, you have to think it. That's all. Just think it. Okay? When you're talking to someone, if you want to project love to them, while you're talking to them, just think in your head, I love you. I love you. Gosh, I love you. Okay? Guess what? Your love energy, okay? Because the yin and yang, okay? So there's abundance, that's God's energy, love energy, and then there's the lack of, okay? And you choose which side you want to come from. But when you come from that side, they just look at you and they start turning their head like this and they start, right? Because why? Because you're giving off love vibes. This is why chicks dig me. Okay? A human being can tell instinctively if you're there for their good interest or not so good interest. Okay? In other words, we'll say it another way. If you are there for your interest or their interest. And this is what humility is. Humility is not thinking of yourself less. Okay? Or less of yourself, I should say. It's thinking of yourself less than putting the other person first. When you put the other person first, they know. Because it can't be perceived any other way. It comes through in your body language. It comes through in your micro expressions. People can't hide their micro expressions. Learn how to read them. Google it. It's a thing. Search it up. Learn it. And you will see a whole different world. Okay, a micro expression happens in a split second. And if you know what it is, when you know the truth, okay, the truth will set you free, okay, but you need to know the truth first. Research it. When you see it, it will set you free, okay? Because people can't hide from that. They cannot hide. So there is the separation between the body and the spirit. Most people don't understand that. Most religious people don't understand that. They don't know what it means. They've heard it, right? They've read the stories. The Bible is the greatest story ever told. But there are esoteric meanings to these stories. So what did Jesus mean when he said, I will be with you until the end of these systems of things? He said he will be with you eternally. That's what it meant. There are no end to the systems of things. It's here for a reason. It's here for order. There is an order in the universe. There is intelligent order in the universe. Systems will always exist. They are necessary. Are you supposed to hate the system? No. Are you supposed to hate the people that run the systems? No. You can have, do, or be anything in any system. The system is physical. You are spiritual. But when you disconnect the spirit from the source, let's say it another way. When you isolate yourself away from God and into a physical thing and worship a physical thing, an inanimate object, it could be paper money, it could be coins, it could be a house, it could be a car, it could be. When you do that, what you're saying is, this is more powerful than this. Okay? This thing. Okay? The pen is more powerful than the sword. You've heard that. Do you know why? It's because the pen affects your subconscious when you write. You can summon God through your pen. How do you do that? Sounds like mystical stuff, right? Wrong. It's your subconscious. Right. I am so happy and grateful now that I am confident. Thank you. There you go. Write it for 2 weeks. Watch what happens. Watch how you feel. It changes. 66 days is the minimum to install a solid belief in your subconscious. But most people are too lazy to do it for 66 days. Why are they so lazy? Well, they're just distracted. They're not necessarily lazy, but lazy in relation to writing the affirmation. You've heard people say, well, I have better things to do. Okay, well, do those better things. When you have suffered enough, when you have experienced enough lack, when you have experienced enough, can't take this anymore kind of feeling, okay? And the key word is feeling. Why? Because your feelings are what impress your subconscious the most, negative or positive. Then you begin to Say, oh, the pen is magic. So there is no magic lamp, but there's a magic pen. There's a magic subconscious. There's the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. The superconscious is what we call God. But you're in a synthetic reality and you don't see it. Okay, what happens in a synthetic reality? People stop trusting their inner spiritual guidance. They start relying on manufactured things, on GPS systems, instead of trusting their own GPS, their own internal GPS. Right? We start relying on external things. Okay, that could be anything. Seek the kingdom first, and all else will be added unto you. That's the secret. Because if you don't cut off your life force, if you don't cut off the connection with the identification of your life force, then what? Then, oh, the boat starts to go like this. There's no rudder, there's no direction, the boat's going like this, and you don't know it because you're distracted. That's what's happening, like that. Okay? When you tune in to this, to your energy, to your spirit, to your soul, what happens? Guidance. Intuitive guidance. Where does that come from? The right-hand side of your brain, the right hemisphere of your brain. What's on the left? Logic, ego. Ego. There you go. The ego always thinks it knows best. This is why Jesus said, cast your net to the right. Why the right? Jesus sits at the right hand of the Father. It's the right hemisphere of your brain. I know you've been told the story. I know it's a good story, right? Fishermen, fish, abundance. They couldn't even pull the net in yet. Okay. It's telling you about abundance and where abundance is. It's on the right, not the left. The ego has nothing to do with abundance. The ego is scarcity, lack, fear, worry, disappointment, guilt, shame, all of those things. Ego. All of it. This is why you need to surrender. Surrender what? Surrender your internal guidance away from things and onto God or source. Whoever you believe, it doesn't matter what you believe. I'm not here to sway your opinion. I'm not here to say you need to believe this, that, or the other thing. Okay, I'm here to say you have the power within you. If you want to call it George, call it George. There you go. I believe in divine George. But tune in to George. Pay attention to George. Nurture George. Labels are labels. But divine balance can only happen when you recognize, oh, okay, well, there's the body and there's the spirit, and I have both. But the spirit controls the body all day long. This is why when you're angry inside, when you're suppressed inside, when someone suppresses you, okay, I've been through tons of suppression. I'm an expert at being suppressed. Okay, they could suppress the physicalness of me. They couldn't suppress this part. And this is why no matter what, I always pop up. And they're like, man, how did he do that? Okay. Because the physical has no authority over the spiritual at all. Ever. Ever. Okay. It doesn't matter if you look into the scientific industrial complex and go, oh, okay, well, the world is round, the world is flat, the world is round, the world. You had one scientist come and say, well, the world is actually oval, like a pear. I was cracking up. I was cracking up. Because now that puts a different picture in people's heads, right? And this guy makes a lot of money. But the majority of people don't look at science as a religion. It's a religion. Like Henry Ford said, If you think you can or you think you can't. If you think it is or if you think it isn't. Either way, you're correct. Why? Well, because you can't prove it. Try. Go back, all the way back. They're still working on it. It will never be explained. What is the easiest way to impress the subconscious? Emotion. And how can you awaken yourself? Emotion. Okay, now let's go back. Let's go back to her question. Doctor. Okay, hi, doctor. All right, I like the way you spell doctor, but yeah. So how can you awaken yourself? So look at emotion as energy. Okay, everything in the universe is energy. Okay, this goes for everyone. Everything in the universe is energy. How do you imprint your subconscious? How do you get your subconscious to do what you want it to do? All right, here, this is the first thing. This is the used one. Here we go. Okay. Okay, these are affirmations. Okay, that's not journaling. Okay, I know people are getting you to journal. Okay, it depends on what you're journaling about. Don't journal about anything negative, okay, or you will put it firmly deeper into your subconscious. Okay, and then therapy will do you no good because you'll go in a circle. All right, so the other thing is energy. Okay, so use energy when you imprint the subconscious. So whatever your affirmation is, okay, I am so happy and grateful now that I'm confident, thank you. Okay, now use energy when you do that. When you read it out loud, use energy. Okay, so energy is anything in strength. Okay, emotion. I teach 3-year-olds, and my 3-year-olds don't know anything, but they know energy. Okay, if I say to a 3-year-old, oh, give me some feeling in your music, sing with feeling, they don't know what that is. If I say, give Uncle more energy, bam, they know what it is. Nikola Tesla put it to you this way: energy, frequency, and vibration are the keys to understanding the universe, because everything is energy, frequency, and vibration, even you. This is why God spoke the world into existence. Oh, how did he do that? With vibration. Everything is vibration. You can speak things into your world. How do I do that? Say it over and over and over again. A belief is a thought you keep thinking. So what are you saying to yourself? Okay. So there's different forms of negative self-talk. Okay. If you say things with emotion into your subconscious that are negative, you will believe it faster, and you will become what you speak. But on the other hand, okay, doctor, this one is for you. If you speak things into your subconscious or write things into your subconscious with energy, in other words, while you're writing, you need to feel that surge of energy in you. You need to work yourself up to that. Okay? And then speak it into your subconscious with energy. Speak it firmly. Then it goes into your subconscious faster. Rita, what about feeling the need to call someone that has ignored you for so long but ego stops you? Well, you have to think about that first. You have to think about it, okay? Because when you engage, you join. If it's something that you should engage in, then okay. But you cannot affect someone else's free will. Okay, that's the only thing you cannot do. You cannot violate someone's free will. You cannot force someone to comply. So every time you reach out, you take the chance of it not being returned to you. And what you're reaching out with is your energy and your power. So when you don't get your power returned to you, there's an emptiness. Okay? But today we're talking about God and Mammon. We're talking about the physical versus the spiritual. Okay, we're going to be talking about this all next week. Okay, for 1 week, we're going to talk about this. Because people don't understand the systems. You're not living in one system. You're living in many systems of influence. if you want to be, let's say, abundant within the systems that exist, all you need to do is have your priorities straight. What are you going to focus on? This one or this one? The body. The body versus the spirit. So, genius, as I said earlier, is the ability to observe, the ability to allow, the ability to pull back and just wait for the paradigm to shift into positivity. By questioning, what is the good side to this? What is the good part of this? Because everything is 50-50. But we are conditioned by negativity bias, human beings. So we look at things, right, to identify threats. And this is evolution. This is biology. This is not what society has done to us. We came to the planet prepared to survive. We were created for survival. So what happens in this instance? So we look for the bad things. This is why you see so many people. They're really quick to judge. They're very quick to look for the negative. They're very quick to, right? Okay? But what happens in their subconscious? Oh, they're very quick to judge. They're very quick. Okay, so they start fearing. Doubt and fear. If you're always judging, you're going to be doubtful. And this is where trust fractures. How are you going to trust someone if you don't trust? If you judge? How are you going to love someone if you cannot love because, well, it's this negativity bias thing going round and round in my subconscious? Wash, rinse, repeat. Okay. So what's the cure? Relax, observe, allow, kick back, and become the observer. That can only happen through affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. What about prayer? Oh yeah, prayer is good. Prayer works. Definitely prayer works all day long. I've tested prayer. I've prayed for the most outrageous things you can think of, and they happened. But they only happened after my subconscious was conditioned to observe prayer. What does that mean? That means if you're going to pray and believe in your prayer, okay, what it says in Mark 11:24 for you Christians, okay, ask, believe in what it is you're asking, and you will receive. Then it happens. If you ask and you are on the fence about something, or you doubt something, or you're a little afraid of what you're asking for, okay, won't happen. God can do many things. God is the superconscious, but you have the subconscious that runs underneath everything. You're not even aware of what you believe until something comes up and triggers a belief in you. And then you go, oh, okay, it's like, yeah, whoa, I don't like that, or I like that. Okay? So you cannot be a mess in your subconscious, an accumulation of anxiety, fear, worry, all kinds of stuff. Okay? Garbage, propaganda, misinformation, distractions, and then expect God to sort this out? God's not going to sort it out. Oh, but I thought God was love. Yeah, God will love this mess. God will love you in spite of this mess. He will love you as a mess. He will love you as an organized being. He will love you as a human with understanding. Or he will love you as an evil person, and you will get more of that. Either way. So what do you choose? You have the freedom of choice. You have free will. But the imbalance occurs when the ego takes over and the ego leads, because then the spirit cannot lead. If the spirit is leading and you function more on intuitive thought, you function more on, okay, I felt this, I understand the feeling, okay, I'm going to do this. This is when you drive down the street, you get the feeling to turn right, and you dismiss it because you have an ego, because you have logic, and it's highly illogical that you get this feeling to turn right. How would that work, right? Okay, so you think you know better, and you say, no, that's okay, and you continue and get stuck in the traffic jam. How many times has that happened to you with different things? And what do you say? You go, I knew I should have, right? Women more so than men, way more than men, because they're designed to have baby bears. They're designed to protect their young. They're given these things. That's why we call it women's intuition. They're far better thinkers. They're multitaskers. They're more complex than men. This is why the majority of my clients have always been women, will always be women, because they seek to organize these things. They know they're powerful. They know they have all these ideas. They know they have all these feelings. But they go into overwhelm. They get flustered. Okay? They get burnout. They get judged. More so, they begin to judge themselves in the negative. That creates what I call a downward spiral. And then your amygdala, okay, and it happens to men as well, but more severely to women. Their amygdala starts giving them the negative what ifs. What if this happens? What if that happens? What if this happens? And pretty soon they're a wreck. Then what happens? Cry. Why? That's purging negative emotion. After the crying is over, what? Brand new. Brand new. Okay. When you do affirmations, you are writing, literally writing a computer program into you. Your conscious mind only does 5% of your life. That's it. 5% of your life is conscious. That's pretty funny in a way. That's pretty funny. Right? Everything else we do is automatic. Everything else we do is conditioned response, learned response, repetition. Once you do it over and over and over and over and over. So now the question becomes, what do you want? Focus on what you want rather than what you don't want. But when you're doing the focusing, if you're focused on, okay, I want this toy, I want this car, I want this house, I want this, right? I want this, want this, want this. You'll get it. You'll get it. But you'll get it faster. You'll get it with more clarity. You'll get it with more natural discipline. Okay, because you don't intentionally need to form barriers. When you're confident, barriers pop up automatically because there's things you will and will not do. It all depends on what you believe. So when you hear things like God knows your heart, it's talking about your subconscious. God does not interfere with your subconscious. You're in control of that. That's what God gave you. So if your house is not in order, meaning your subconscious house, if your house is not in order, God will love you as you are. And that will keep going in a circle. And you will live. Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about it this way. He said, you will live this today. Tomorrow you wake up, you think about these things, you will live it again. Next day you get up, you think about these things, same things, nothing resolved, you do it again. This over here, one more time, again, okay. Now, if this is lack, okay, there's lack and then lack today, and then lack tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day, and the next day. And one day you run out of life, and that's it. That's all you get. You live this way one time. But this is eternal. Where does it go? It goes back to the source, to the creator, to its origin. Where does this go? It goes into the ground. It's a miracle. You eat a banana, it becomes a human being. If you want to see a miracle, go in your bathroom, turn on the light, look in the mirror, that's your miracle. But until you break free of the societal hypnosis, until you break free of the conditioning, until you break free of everything you think you should be, rather than what you are, you'll never see it. And everything I'm saying will be like, for you old timers, Charlie Brown's teacher. Wah, 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 wah. Because it'll go right over your head. Or you will have a little clarity, a little understanding. Then you go back to the clock. Then you go back to the calendar. Then you go back to the family. Then you go back to the hobbies. Then you go back to social media. Then you go back to the television. Then you go back to being programmed. And the programming continues. I worked for 40 years in media. 40 years. And I was explaining to Jay earlier today, when we have our pre-production meetings. I was explaining to Jay how we follow the national lead. Okay, so there's a national lead. It's not a conspiracy per se, okay, but it is a little conspiratorial because 3 major corporations control all the news in the United States. Major mainstream media. And what we did in, I got out in 2019. But what we did was we followed the lead. We followed the topic. Whatever was being said on mainstream media became our lead. Why? Because it's pop culture, because it's relevant, it's what's happening. But they decide this somewhere in a think tank, in a corporation. They decide what everybody looks at. When you go to a movie, there's groups of people in Hollywood that decide what is going to be a part of the script, what you are going to witness, what you are going to be emotionally attracted to. That's what goes in your subconscious. That forms beliefs. The affirmations. Hi, darling. Good morning. I remember you. The affirmations. Do I write them do I write them one time and then read it, or write them every day? Yeah. So write them in the morning. So there's a system to that. Okay, and the system is you write your affirmations every morning when your brain is in theta state. Okay, before you have coffee, before you wake up, before you get out of bed. So just good morning. So just keep your tablet by the bedside. Okay, and then when you first get up in the morning, write down your sentence, your affirmation, whatever it is. Okay, if you need help with an affirmation, message me. I'll give you an affirmation depending on what your goals are. And then you write it when your brain is in theta state. Now, in the evening when your brain is in theta state, fully relaxed, before you turn the light off to go to bed, pick up your tablet, read it out loud, and then turn off your light and put your head down and go to bed. It will be in your subconscious all night long because your subconscious remembers the last thing you speak. This is why they say don't go to bed angry. It's not because of any other reason. If you go to bed angry, you'll wake up angry, you'll have a bad day. Okay? Or you'll go to bed focused on something that made you angry, and when you get up, the first thing that pops into your head is that thing that made you angry. Why? Because it's been there all night long, waiting for you to get up, right? You get up, your mind attacks you, boom, there you are. Okay, now you've brought it into the next day. That's what Dr. Dispenza talks about: next day, next day, next day, next day. Pretty soon you just run out of days. And you have lived the same angry life over and over, the same reactionary life over and over, the same triggers over and over, the same poverty over and over. So Ralph Waldo Emerson said, poverty consists of feeling poor. Is something making you feel poor? Is something making you feel less than? I see religious people walking with that on their shirts. He is greater than I. That makes the I less than. It's ideal for religion because why? Well, you keep coming back. You keep working on the fact that you're less than and you want to be more than, so you come in, you keep going up that hill. Religion is a business. All the industrial complexes are businesses. There are only corporations in the world. Every country is a corporation. Okay? So when you look at the world, right, you see countries, you see governments. There are corporations in the world, and there are banks in the world. Banks are also corporations. But you have been told, oh no, this is where you keep your money. Oh, this is where you, whatever, right? Banks don't keep your money in the bank. If you're keeping your money in a bank, you're keeping it in the wrong place. Give it to your stockbroker. There are only corporations. They are businesses. Churches are businesses. Temples are businesses. Synagogues are businesses. Businesses are businesses. The military-industrial complex is a business. The people getting wealthy the most serve the government contracts. They're in the business of working for military-industrial complex industries. But you have to see these things. If you just look at labels, oh, this is the government, that's the church, that's the cafe, that's the coffee place, that's this, okay, all right. But with a deeper understanding, when you understand that the spirit supersedes everything else, that you can attract everything to you through this energy, through God's energy, through God's love. God is love. God doesn't judge. If you think God is up there watching you, so when you make a mistake, he like just slaps you, doesn't happen. Doesn't happen at all. But when you understand the separation of the physical and the spiritual, and you start working from the spiritual, which is your default energy, which is the energy of God, working in the positive, because the opposite is the lack of. That's all it is. It's the lack of that energy. It's operating outside of that energy. It's operating from the void instead of from the abundance or from the life force. Then all your problems are solved. And sometimes you need to be patient, but when you observe, you will see the glass half empty shift to the glass half full. And sometimes a little bit of patience is required. A little bit of contemplation is required. But then you will see the truth, and the truth will set you free. Okay, so we're going to talk to you guys tomorrow about the same thing. We're going to continue. This goes on and on. I have so much information to share. But today, we hope we've brought some insight into your world and some understanding. And have a great 2026. Look forward to good things and they will happen. Look forward to bad things and they will happen. So you choose.